In this video, I'm gonna be talking about 10 things to avoid doing with your newborn baby. Because newborn babies are the sweetest, cuddliest, and the most vulnerable little humans there are. And as a new parent, you love them so much and you wanna protect your baby at all costs. We do our best, but we all make mistakes, and that's just part of being a parent. However, there are some mistakes that you really need to be careful of for your baby's best development and safety. And I'm gonna talk about them now, but first, if you are new here, my name is Diana. I'm a physician assistant and I specialize in women's health and gynecology. You are watching In the Pink, and if you're new here, In the Pink means in good health and spirit. So if you like being healthy and happy, make sure to click subscribe because you are in the right place. Now, before I start, I want to hear from you. What brought you here to this video? Are you a parent of a newborn baby? Are you expecting a baby soon? Put that in the comment section below. But now let's jump into the video, starting with number 1. Feeding your newborn solid foods too early. Around 6 months is the recommended time to introduce your baby to solid foods. At the earliest, you can begin giving them foods like, for example, pureed applesauce, avocados, or mashed bananas. But by feeding them too early, you run the risk of giving them food allergies, digestive issues, and there's possibly a link to diabetes and obesity. It's best to wait until your baby is 6 months, at the very earliest 4 months, before you start introducing solid foods. Now, this is the age when the digestive system is ready for solids and has had ample time to build up a strong immune system. And besides their age, you also need to pay attention to their physical cues that they are ready. So they need to be able to sit up by themselves with some support. Also, they're gonna let you know that they aren't ready if they push the food out of their mouth with their tongue. We call this the tongue thrust reflex, and if they do this when you try to feed them, they're not quite yet ready for solids. Number 2, placing your child incorrectly in the crib. Newborn babies should always be placed on their backs when they're sleeping. This reduces the likelihood of SIDS. It's also really important that you keep the crib free of loose blankets and stuffed animals. These things can become accidental choking hazards or can suffocate the newborn if he or she moves around. If you are using a bassinet, make sure to follow these same guidelines. Also, it's no longer recommended that you use bumper pads. I know they look so cute in nursery pictures, but the data shows that they don't prevent injuries and that they can increase the baby's risk for suffocation. Number 3, letting them sleep too long between feedings. Now remember, we're talking about newborns here. And they are, by nature, supposed to eat every 2 to 3 hours. This is to support their rapidly growing and changing bodies. It may sound like a lot, but for a newborn, it's really important. If you allow them to sleep too long in between feedings, they'll end up missing those vital nutrients that they need right now. Now, if you notice that your baby has been sleeping for a long time and isn't waking up to eat, just gently rub them on the back to wake them up so that you can feed them. And if you notice that that's happening more than once in a single day, just make sure to let your pediatrician know. Number 4, incorrectly installing car seats. Statistics show that over half of car seats are installed incorrectly. Whether it's using the incorrect car seat for the height and weight of the child, having it face in the wrong direction, because for newborns and infants, the car seat needs to be rear facing, or using the seat belt or latch system incorrectly, not properly securing the car seat, or not fitting the harness correctly. You definitely get the hang of it over time, but at first it can seem overwhelming. Many hospitals have car seat specialists that can help you make sure that your car seat is installed properly. And this is usually a free service. If you are still pregnant, just remember that hospitals usually require you to have a proper car seat installed in your car before you take the baby home. So you want to be prepared with your car seat before you deliver your baby. Number 5, leaving them unattended. This is one of the most important things to remember when you've got a newborn in the house. It may seem obvious, but leaving them unattended can lead to certain problems. Depending on circumstances, leaving a newborn unattended and unguarded for even a few minutes can cause physical harm, like if they were to fall or if something were to fall on them. But in general, leaving them alone for extended periods of time can lead to developmental delays and cognitive delays. It's important to interact with your little one. It's crucial for their growing minds and their bodies. Number 6, allowing young siblings to hold them or play with them unsupervised. Now this point kind of goes along with point number 5, but I felt like it needed its own explanation. Younger siblings should definitely be encouraged to interact with the newborns, but with supervision and restrictions. Try to limit what they can and cannot do in order to keep them from unintentionally harming the baby. Young siblings shouldn't be allowed to hold the newborn by themselves, pick them up, and also need to be aware of the harmful effects of germs and foods. For our family, when I had my newborn home, I had a 24-month-old that we had to spend a lot of time teaching how to be safe around the baby. Number 7, taking them into crowded spaces. So crowded spaces are usually loud and a chaotic environment that can be really stressful for infants. And you want to avoid taking your newborns into these types of places for a couple of reasons. First of all, newborns are experiencing the world for the first time, and they're much more sensitive to new noises and smells and textures than we are. And the risk for infection is much greater for newborns. So doing what you can to reduce their risk of getting an infection is really important, especially during the flu season. Number 8, putting off tummy time early on. It's easy to want to delay starting tummy time until they're a little bit older. They may not always love tummy time at first because it's a new skill and they're working their little muscles to keep their head up, but tummy time is super important for a couple of reasons, and it can be started as soon as their umbilical stump falls off, which is usually around a week. You can start off by placing them on their belly right on your chest, and they'll love to see your smiling face as they lift their head. Tummy time helps to strengthen their neck and their shoulder and their arm muscles, and it helps to prevent flat spots on their head and helps to improve their motor skills. Tummy time should be monitored and limited to short increments at first, like 1 to 2 minutes, a couple of times a day, maybe 2 to 3 times a day, and then that time goes up as they get older. Number 9, making them too warm. Your newborn baby's body is still learning how to regulate itself in different environments. Try to keep their nursery at the same temperature at all times, so ideally 68 to 72 degrees. Most newborns prefer to be warmer rather than cool, but try not to make them too warm. Don't cover or drape with a blanket or wrap them in too thick of clothing in the wintertime. Stick to consistent clothes that are soft and breathable, but still warm and cozy. Number 10, letting them cry for prolonged periods of time. We all know that newborns cry, and they cry a lot. That's all they have in their little arsenal of communication. So it's what they're going to use. However, letting them cry for too long has shown to have detrimental effects on a newborn's well-being. It can lead to negative feelings toward their parents, avoidant attachment styles, and even affect their physical development. You can't spoil a newborn by holding them too much. So go ahead and pick them up, give them love, change their diaper, feed them whatever they need. You cannot hold a newborn too much. And then finally, it's important to keep in mind that each baby and each family is different, meaning that there's probably gonna be some trial and error involved. Newborns come with their own set of challenges, but they are so highly rewarding. Just remember to keep things in perspective, slow down a little bit, try not to get too frustrated with yourself while you're trying to figure out your newborn. You will figure it out. But hey, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, remember to subscribe to Diana in the Pink and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future uploads about babies, mommyhood, pregnancy. Also, if there are any other women's health topics that you would like me to talk about, put that in the comment section down below. I'd like to know what you would like to learn about from this channel. Up next, I'm gonna put my video on things that you can do to help your newborn be a little bit smarter. I'm gonna link to that video right here. Click on that, and I will see you over there.